Hello everyone, very good morning to all the viewers of Unacademy Law. This is Kushagra Goyal, your educator, to the channel that is all your solutions for law entrance examinations in one go. So very warm welcome. April 8 is a very important date for us, and we will be talking about the updates of what has happened in Pakistan. We will be discussing the situation there. We will be talking about how it impacts us, हमारी current affair preparation के हिसाब से हमें क्या करना है, what to note down in that regard, what are the updates apart from that. So very good morning to all the viewers who have tuned in live. We are doing it at a different point of time, especially because of two major reasons. Okay, one of them is that there is some electrical maintenance work going on in my locality, so there is no electricity in the later point of time, precisely because of which we have to do it. So we will be resuming it to the normal timing of 12 p.m. from Monday onwards as the situation stabilizes. So until then, those who have tuned in at the early hours today, so very warm welcome. आप सभी का बहुत स्वागत है. Hi Astha, hi Ipshita, hello Akanksha. So शुरू करते हैं हमारा आज का एनालिसिस. Now before I do that, I again want to reiterate कि हमारा नया बैच related to the crash course of your CLAT preparation has begun. It began on April 6th. This batch will complete your syllabus for your CLAT examination prior to the exam date itself. 2 महीने में अगर आपको अपना पूरा कोर्स कंप्लीट करना है तो डू सब्सक्राइब टू दिस बैच. यू कैन यूज द कोड KUSHGK ताकि आप इसका सब्सक्रिप्शन ले पाए. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दिस इज ऑल्सो द अदर क्रैश कोर्स बैच दैट आई एम रनिंग इन. इसका ये वाला क्रैश कोर्स बैच का कोर्स May 28 तक कंप्लीट हो जाएगा. इसकी क्लासेस April 1 से शुरू हुई थी, अभी तक 3 क्लासेस हो चुकी हैं. सो अगर आपने नहीं किया है तो आप इस लिंक को यूज करके अभी भी सब्सक्राइब कर सकते हो. You will need to take at least a 2-month subscription of Unacademy to do it. So आप जल्दी से जल्दी इसके लिए सब्सक्राइब कर लीजिए. अगर आपको कोई भी कॉल करनी है तो then any information that you need, you can call on 7825860506 or use the code KUSHGK. And from Unacademy's point of view, we have a new informal store, a new physical store that we have opened up. ये गोपालपुरा बाईपास रिद्धि सिद्धि सर्कल ऑफ जयपुर के वहाँ पे. You can visit this Unacademy store. The registration for it will begin from April 9 to 10. And if you are watching me for the very first time, I'm Kushagra Goyal, a graduate from National Law University, a Masters in Economics. आपको मुझे या CLAT students को मुझे क्यों follow करना चाहिए? Because I've assisted students to achieve AIR 4, AIR 16. I've taught in a series that has got 90% of the GK section, so I know the nerve of the examination. And हमारे notes will be available on bit.ly/KUSHGK notes. और आप मुझे reach out कर सकते हैं मेरे Telegram channel पर, that is Kushagra Goyal the legal game _Unacat. So शुरू करते हैं हमारा आज का analysis. Very good morning to those who have tuned in. Akanksha, Sarmishta, Anushka, Suraj, Janvi. Very good morning to everyone. So the first big news is that Supreme Court of Pakistan has cancelled the judgment of the Deputy Speaker of Pakistan. So हमने अपने पिछले एनालिसिस में इसके बारे में बात करी थी that the Deputy Speaker of Pakistan, that is Qasim Suri, had rejected the no confidence motion. He had used Article 5 of the Constitution. कौन सा आर्टिकल यूज किया था उन्होंने? आर्टिकल 5 को यूज करके कहा था कि देयर इज अ फॉरेन कॉन्स्पिरेसी दैट इज बीइंग देयर अगेंस्ट द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ पाकिस्तान, एंड इस वजह से नो कॉन्फिडेंस मोशन कैन नॉट बी एक्सेप्टेड. दिस इज पार्ट ऑफ फॉरेन कॉन्स्पिरेसी. इट इज अगेंस्ट द सॉवरेनिटी ऑफ द कंट्री. However, the Supreme Court has rejected this and used Article 95. Article 95 of the Pakistan Constitution use करते हुए Supreme Court ने cancel कर दिया है. Now there will be a new trust vote. आज की तारीख में over today there will be a trust vote in the Assembly of Pakistan today. So we had talked about in the previous analysis how there is a need, or what all do we need to note down. I had pointed out 2 possibilities to all of you. The second one has come true, which is very similar to what happened in Nepal. So Supreme Court delivered the judgment. 2 things it has done. Number 1, Deputy Speaker order has been cancelled. इसका क्या मतलब है? No new elections as of right now. And the second thing is no confidence motion vote. To now take place. Okay, this is what will now happen as of right now. Supreme Court के order की वजह से two new things will happen. First, they have cancelled the Deputy Speaker order. No new elections as of now. The second is a no confidence motion vote will take place. Now, either Imran Khan's political party will have to establish that they have majority, or they will lose the support of the House and the new Prime Minister will be sworn in. So this is the eventuality that we have to now wait for. Until then, very, very good morning to you, Aisha. Very good morning to you also. So this is the news as of right now. We need to wait for the vote to take place. So again, this is still a developing story. It is still developing. Okay, it is up and coming. So we will have to wait for the situation to continue. Then on the right hand side is the other news that we have to note down. Russia suspended from Human Rights Council. India abstains from vote at UNGA. Okay. Now, what do you need when you have to take a vote? So UN HRC is a UN agency. Okay, it has a total of 53 members. What happens? The UNGA members, how many are there? (193). Okay, 193 of them. Among this you have to have a 2/3 majority of present and voting. Okay, this is something you can note down. What is the requirement to remove someone? If someone is already there, how do you remove it? 2/3 majority of those present and voting for adoption. जितने लोग present हैं उनमें से you have to have 2/3 members present and voting. All right. So how many were there? In total, 93 voted in favor and 24 voted against. So two-thirds present and voting need to vote for removal. All right, this is the news. And how many votes were there? 93 in favor and 24 in against. Okay, that is the number of countries that voted for removal of Russia from UN agency UNHRC, United Nations Human Rights Council. The resolution was sponsored or written by US and UK. Motion to remove Russia. All right, this is all that we need to note down in terms of this news. The process and who sponsored the motion for removal and what has been done. So removed Russia from the vote. Okay. And what was India's stand? India abstained. India did not vote in yes. India did not vote in against. India stated no vote. All right. We will not carry out a vote. जैसा आप all of you do in your CLAT paper, that in case you do not know an answer, you do not attempt the question, right? उसी तरीके से this is exactly what you will do. Very, very good morning, Lalima, Athar, Shreya, and Toshit. Very good morning to you also. I understand that we did not have class yesterday, but don't worry, we will continue. I will make it up to all of you. All right. Then we move on the other news of national importance. What we need to note down here is this one. All right. Now, meet Wednesday, civic bodies get minorities panel notice. What had happened in Delhi? In Delhi, the municipal council ke mayor had given a statement that see, during the Navratra period, meat shops will be closed. Now, this is against, हमारे लिए ये क्यों important है? This is under Article 19 of the Indian Constitution. What is Article 19? Freedom to trade. Everybody is guaranteed freedom to trade. ठीक है, आपका जो मन है आप वो चीज ट्रेड कर सकते हो in India. All right. This is I'll use a different color and move it somewhere. I think it's ये दिख नहीं रहा है. All right. So freedom to trade is a fundamental right under Article 19. So when you tell that see this kind of business cannot be done, you either have to have a law which states so, or you have to give detailed reasons of why this is against reasonable restriction, ki how it is a reasonable restriction. So either you will have to prove that what is the flaw of meat eating, something on that line. So until and unless you provide a reason for a restriction, such a restriction cannot be justified in terms of practice. So the article number and the right under which it comes is something that we have to take a note over. Okay. Then we move on other national news. So there is updates that Chinese hacker groups are attacking the assets of power grids in India in Ladakh. Okay, so this is something that is a cyber warfare that is going on, cyber crime. Okay, what is happening? At least 2 attempts by Chinese hackers were made on electricity distribution centers near Ladakh, but none were successful. कोई भी successful नहीं हुआ. Power Minister R.K. Singh has informed. Okay. Now who has done it? किसने किया है ये? And how is it similar? It is similar to the group that is Threat Activity Group 38. Okay, Threat Activity Group number 38. They are the ones who are behind this cyber crime or cyber attack that is happening in India as of now. Okay, this is on the electrical assets of India in Ladakh. Okay, who is slated to have done it? The Chinese. The group is Threat Activity Group number 38. Then we move on. Nothing of note in this. Then we come to the one on the left hand side. So editorial page pe we have three editorials that are very, very important for us. The one on the left hand side, Beyond Border Gavaskar, periodic reprisal of economic gains from trade pact with Australia is pragmatic. अब क्या हुआ है? इंडिया के कॉमर्स मिनिस्टर पीयूष गोयल एंड डैन तेहान ऑफ ऑस्ट्रेलिया in attendance of the prime ministers, that is Scott Morrison and Narendra Modi, India signed the economic cooperation and trade agreement. ठीक है? This is a intermediate bilateral trade agreement between India and Australia. What is it? It is an intermediate one. ठीक है? Under this, the import duty on different items from Australia and India will be reduced. The second thing that will also happen is it will improve people-to-people interaction. Indians will be able to get work visas in Australia much easier. They will be able to work in Australia much more better. Okay, this is the news that is here. Then, in terms of uniqueness that is there, is that best feature of is that at the end of 15 years, there is incorporation of compulsory review mechanism. Okay, that after some time period we will be able to re-evaluate. जैसा आप लोगों का every year in your law schools you will be evaluated every 1 year based on your examinations, your performance, how you are studying. Okay, in terms of this, both India and Australia will be able to re-evaluate. If the tariffs, import duties, shortage, if not working, then this is what is can happen in terms of reappraisal. They may either be able to increase it, reduce it, something on those lines. So the agreement, उसका note आपको बनाना है. India Australia Economic Cooperation and Trade Agreement. Okay, this is, and the time period of it is 15 years for reappraisal. Okay, 15 years for reappraisal. That is the year that you have to note down. All right. Then the next one that we have on here, bad or worse the fault lines between ruling coalition. अब Israel के अंदर we had noted in the month of July that there is a new government in Israel. Naftali Bennett के अंदर a new government in Israel was formed in. This was a new coalition. Benjamin Netanyahu, the long-time serving prime minister, had been ousted. He had not been able to form a majority government, and a new government was sworn in. Up, what has happened is that one of the legislator of that ruling government, जैसा पाकिस्तान में हुआ है, how did the crisis in Pakistan happen? Coalition partners withdrew support. Similar event has happened in Israel also, where Iddat Silman has withdrawn his support. Okay. Ab, two things that you have to note down first. What is the name of the Parliament of Israel? The name of the Parliament is Knesset. Okay, Knesset. Now the size of Knesset is, जैसे हमारे यहाँ 545 है, the size of Knesset there is 120. In terms of 120, how many do you need? 61. 61 is the majority number. So now the government has to procure, right now how many are they left with? 60, because they had one minus. Okay. So this is the situation that has happened. Now in terms of our examination, what do we need to note down? The name of the parliament, who is the current prime minister there? The current prime minister is Naftali Bennett. He is supported by Yair Lapid, okay? And in terms of their competitor is Benjamin Netanyahu, the previous prime minister who is also facing corruption charges, okay? In Israel, पिछले 2 सालों में there have been 4 elections. If this government is unable to continue because the vote will happen in the month of May, it will probably have a new prime minister or a new government once again, or if there is no government, it will have elections in the country once again. So these are the updates that may happen. हमारे लिए the name of these people, the name of Knesset is important, and that right now there is a coalition government that has probably lost its majority in the country. Okay. Then your questions about, will we have the quiz today? Today we will not have the quiz. I will be informing you as and when we will have the quiz. Okay everyone? Then the next thing is the storyline in the race of French presidency. So France ke elections will happen in, presidential election of France will happen in the month of April. This editorial is about the campaign of 2 of the main competitors, that is Emmanuel Macron, who is the current president of France, and Le Pen, who is, or Marianne Le Pen, who is the front-running competitor to Macron in the elections. Okay, she is the leading candidate to compete. Up, France has a 2-structure elections. Okay, what does France have? It has a 2-tier election system. Okay, 2-tier election system. What happens first? of total vote. What happens? Up there are, let's say, 10 people running in the election. Hypothetically, there are 10 people running in the election. There is A. A got 15% vote. Then we have B who got 20% vote. Then we have C who got 25% vote. Then we again have D who got 17% vote. Okay? Let's say hypothetically we have had this scenario. Now nobody has been able to reach 50%. ठीक है? किसी के पास भी 50% का threshold नहीं आया है. So what will happen? All the others will drop out of the race. If there is an E, there is an F, all of them will have to drop out of the race except for the top two candidates. So top two candidates क्या है? B और C. The two candidates in the running are B and C. Now the second stage of election will happen wherein people will only have to decide between the two candidates that are left. So number 2 is 2 all right. The situation is pehle every candidate will be allowed to run the election. All of us can run. Let's say hypothetically all of us are in France. All of us can compete, but only the two front running candidates, until and unless there is a person who has got 50% vote. Ideally that has not happened, so there will always be a runoff election. Runoff election का क्या मतलब होता है? Two front running candidates, ठीक है? They will go back to the country and seek vote against each other, and the electorate or the people who are voting will have to decide either between those two candidates. Okay, so this is a two-level election, two-tier election system in France. This is what happens. Okay, clear everyone? This is the system of election in France that we have to note. Then your queries, sir, अगर new French president आ गया तो इंडिया का उस पर क्या effect पड़ेगा? It depends on who comes in. Okay, hi Priya, very good morning to you also. It depends. Now, if Emmanuel Macron continues, then it is same. Marine Le Pen has run a election campaign that is primarily focused on the policies within France itself. She has not announced that she will either change the stance outside or not. Okay. She has the only foreign update or foreign policy update is she is not so antagonistic against Vladimir Putin. She is very much, you can say, docile towards him. So maybe European sanctions against, if she is elected, European sanctions against Russia may reduce. That could be the scenario that may happen if Le Pen is elected. Okay. So the two front-running candidates and the system of election is only thing that matters to us right now. Okay, then your questions. Very good morning, Arvind. Why have we done it so early today? We have done it early for reason that there is electrical maintenance work going on in my locality. So there is usually no electricity in the afternoon. So is wajah se we have to do it early morning. Okay, that is the reason. Can they not make an alliance? No. The two front-running candidates cannot make an alliance. They have to do it in terms of competing against one another. Okay? Agar you have not noted it down from the PPT, you can also note it down from here. Under 5th Constitution of France, there has to be a 2-round voting system. If no candidates get 50% first round vote on April 10, which is likely, there will be a second runoff election on April 24. The tussle between will be on the two political frontrunners in France. What are their names? Marine Le Pen of the National Front and Emmanuel Macron, who is the current president as things stand. Okay, Emmanuel Macron is the youngest head, the second youngest head after Napoleon Bonaparte in the long French history. Okay, then we come to the main editorial. Main editorial, यूक्रेन एंड द एनाटॉमी ऑफ इंडियाज न्यूट्रलिटी. हमने इसके बारे में पहले भी बात कर रखी है. वी कैन once again talk about it. So let's go back to the front page, okay? India did not vote against Russia. What was? We firmly believe that all sides taken should take fully respecting due process and all democratic polity and structures enjoin us to do us. This applies international, particularly the United Nations. Okay? If India has chosen any side, it is the side of peace and for immediate cessation or end of violence. Okay? Now, this is the stance of India that has continued since time immemorial. Okay? The editorial is telling us that, see, India adopted a similar stance in Hungary in 1956, Czechoslovakia in 1968, Afghanistan, American invasion of Iraq, Russian annexation of Crimea. We have always stated kya? Similar to what Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru had stated in 1956. We have not condemned them because one is trying to solve the problem. When one is trying to solve the problem, it doesn't help calling names and condemning. This is the same policy that we have adopted in terms of all other conflicts. Every time there has been a conflict by US or Russia, both who are allies or you can say friendly nations to India, we have not criticized either of them. But there are other countries who have also not backed Western sanctions, Israel, Saudi Arabia, UAE, who are all American partners. But why is so much pressure on India to criticize Russia? One of the reasons is that Western countries have stated this as an attack against democracy. Okay? That this is an attack against the free world. India is the largest country in the free world. We are the largest democracy. So if we as a democratic country do not criticize, it weakens American stance against Russia. Now, why has America taken such a strong stance against Russia as of now? The only reason is that this allows America to gain a strategic strength in Europe. America and Russia are not friends. They are competitors to each other. Okay, and in that regard, if they are competing, one of them will come out stronger and US wants to ensure that it comes out stronger. Okay? So, why does it matter for us to not take a stance in the region? Okay? The answer is, as India, what is India's self-interest here? Okay? What is our self-interest? We have to counter China. Our main competitor is China, not US, not Russia. We are not competing against them. To counter China, we need both strong US and strong Russia. What do we need? Both these countries to be strong geopolitically. अगर हम रशिया को क्रिटिसाइज करते हैं तो रशिया becomes weaker, its power goes down, it gets isolated in the world. If Russia becomes weak, then who does it benefit? Or a conflict between these two countries against each other, who does it benefit? It benefits our competitor, that is China. So for our strategic interest, it is important that we ensure that there is an end of conflict between these two countries and there is no animosity. For us to ensure that both of them also counter China. This is our self-interest. So to do that, we have to balance out our concern and not isolate Russia internationally. For our long-term aim of countering China, it is important that Russia does not become isolated. Okay, so this is the nuanced reason that the editorial is trying to tell us about the war in Ukraine. Okay, the problem is that the US is not understanding this nuance of us. Okay, India thinks that a neutral position anchored in strategic autonomy which keeps channels open with both sides is what serves its interest. Okay, so this is the position of India. What have we taken? we have taken retains our right to take policies based on pragmatic realism and core national interest. Our core national interest is to counter China. Our core national interest is to ensure a stable global order. In that regard, we have to ensure that there is a strong Russia and there is a strong US to counter a rising China. Okay, that is the core foreign policy interest of us. Strategic autonomy is something that we have used since time immemorial, 1956, and continuing, we have not taken active criticism of the policy of the two powers, that is Russia and US. Okay, so this is the concern for us. Our Russia and China allies, they are friendly to each other, they have strong relationship with each other, but they are not on board with each other. China has not actively supported Russia either in the war. ठीक है, allies होते तो China would have gone to war against Ukraine itself. It would have announced sanctions against Western countries. It would have tried to have counter sanctions on West to protect Russia, but that has not happened. It is all in the gray area between Russia and China. Okay. Very good morning, Ayan. Hi Manisha, very good morning to you also. With this, so on the editorial side, that is all that we need to note. Then the next one is India's position on Russia affecting its relationship with US? So this is a discussion by the two senior fellows, Syed Akbaruddin, who was our former representative to United Nations, and Lisa Curtis, who is a fellow in US. Okay? Both of them are discussing ki is the position of India, that is of not criticizing Russia, continuing to purchase oil from Russia, hosting the Russian foreign minister. एक बात नोट करने की है कि as since the war has broken out, February 24, ठीक है, there have been at least 10 plus Western envoys who have come to India. ठीक है, none of them met the prime minister, or none of them were able to meet the prime minister. The only person who has met the prime minister is whom? It is the Russian foreign minister. Okay, apart from bilateral summit head level meetings, that is between Japan and Australia, India has not hosted or met at the prime minister level of any of the Western envoys. That thing was only reserved for Russian foreign minister. So इस वजह से it seems are we reducing or threatening our good friendship with US because of our position on Russia? That is the discussion. अब ये speculative है, इस वजह से exam point of view से important नहीं है. Then the question that is there on every household's mind, कि will petrol prices rise further? It is, and I had told you at least 2 weeks ago, that petrol prices will rise by 20 to 25 rupees at least. So अभी तक there has only been a 10 to 11 rupees का increase हुआ है. So you all can expect कि plus 10 to 15 rupees का increase अभी भी possible है. ठीक है everyone? With this, then we move on to the text and context. Now text and context news is related to employees provident fund income. This is partly on taxation basis, not important for us. हमारे लिए ये काम की नहीं है from examination point of view. Then the next one, Elon Musk earns a seat on Twitter's board. What next? Now Elon Musk has become the largest shareholder. He has purchased 9.2% stake in Twitter. इतना percentage, he is the CEO of Tesla, SpaceX, both those two large scale companies. In that regard, what will he bring to the company? Why has he brought it? So there are two primary challenges that face the Twitter website. One is revenue and the other is openness of the platform. Openness के हिसाब से it is about editing the content. आपने एक tweet बना लिया, उसको क्या आप edit कर सकते हैं. And second is open algorithm. Okay, open source algorithm. So now, all of you are running YouTube right now. आप सब मुझे YouTube पर देख रहे हैं. In your, all of you, if you write a message, all of you will be able to see a different suggestion article. Okay? आप लोगों के recommended videos, if all of you type in the chat box, what is the first recommendation या what is the ad that is coming to you, all of you, okay? अगर आप लोग अपने अपने YouTube के ऊपर देखेंगे, so all of you will be having a different advertisement in comparison. या the first recommended video will be completely different. जैसे for example, my next recommended video is from the race YouTube channel. Okay, it is another YouTube channel that I follow. In the live chat, all of you can type in कि आप लोगों का recommended video क्या है. The first recommended video that all of you can see. So for example, I am seeing this one. And what is the one that you all are getting? You can let me know in the live chat section कि आप लोगों को कौन सा आ रहा है. Astha is getting from Study IQ. Similarly, आप लोगों को क्या आ रहा है? The other viewers who have tuned in live, who are watching us, what is the recommended video that you all are getting? First recommended video on YouTube. जल्दी जल्दी चैट में बताओ कि which is the one that all of you are getting from LPT. Madhur is getting from LPT. 5th April newspaper. Unacademy का है. 4th April Unacademy newspaper analysis. Fair enough. So Unacademy ad. All of you. Sarmishta is getting from a music web page. Then we have others. So many of you are watching. जल्दी जल्दी बताओ, or you don't want to tell. अगर नहीं भी बताना चाहते, the point is कि the reason all of you are getting a different recommendation is based on the algorithm of YouTube. Algorithm of YouTube is prioritizing one type of content for you all. जैसे for me it is sports content that is being advertised. For you all the recommendation is based on cricket to music to studies based on what you have been watching. अब open source algorithm होगा. What would open source algorithm be? Open source algorithm is basically अभी it is hidden to us कि what is getting optimized. So usually क्या होता है? Let's say in the evening hours or if someone has paid YouTube to advertise their content, in an open source algorithm, all of us will be aware of how that content is being prioritized. Why are we seeing one kind of content far more than in comparison to others? So that is what open source algorithm is. So Elon Musk and the former CEO and co-founder of Twitter are asking, should we have open source algorithm at all? Should it be known to everyone what is happening on the platform? कितनी content is available for free? All of that. Okay? क्या चीज optimize हो रही है? Is it fake news? So it is information out in public. It is prior disclosure. Open source algorithm is like prior disclosure. All right. So in open source, all of us will be available. All of us will be aware of what is happening on the platform. And that is exactly what the challenge that Elon Musk now faces. As the largest stakeholder, he has decision-making power also. He can influence the decisions of the platform. So that is exactly what can happen now that he is in charge. All right. So this is what open source algorithm is. हमें दो बातें नोट करनी है. One, Elon Musk, largest shareholder of Twitter, and second, open source algorithm. All right. Then we move on. Prior to this, we have the news here, the manacles of caste and sanitation work. All of us know, दो बातें आप सबको पता होनी चाहिए. First, manual scavenging, that is manual cleaning of drains and sewage in India is banned. Okay. Nobody can use manual scavenging in India. All right. It is banned in general. We can only allow mechanized work. But still, this kind of instances are visible where we have individuals cleaning drain holes, all of this. And the second part is that this work is largely associated with specific caste and community. And that is what this is talking about. The law is very clear that we cannot have manual scavenging in India. Then we come to other national news. In other national news, process initiated to amend criminal laws. India is undertaking, या भारत सरकार large scale Indian criminal laws को amend करने की position adopt कर रही है. That is the discussion here. And the second thing is that there are 168 proposals of judicial appointment pending. Overall, भारत के अंदर there is 387 positions of judges vacant in द कंट्री, उसके ऊपर सिर्फ और सिर्फ 168 पर प्रपोजल है, दैट इज 220 पोजीशंस पे देयर इज नो रिकमेंडेशन आल्सो वेटिंग. ओके, दैट इज द स्केल ऑफ vacancy in different high courts in the country as things stand. Then we come to the important news on national level. India US +2+2 will discuss key issues. What is a 2+2? A 2+2 is two ministers talking together. Okay, so who all will be participating in India US 2+2? It is always the external affairs minister and defense minister. So it will be S. Jaishankar from India and Rajnath Singh ji, along with US Secretary of State Anthony Blinken and Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. Those two individuals from US and from India, it will be S. Jaishankar and Rajnath Singh ji. So 4 people, उनके नाम आपको पता होने चाहिए. 2+2 is 2 ministers talking with 2 ministers simultaneously. Clear? Now, as before we move on to the international news, I want to request all of you that as you have watched the analysis until now, अगर आपको analysis अच्छा लगा है, so please give it a thumbs up. It is very very important for you all and your support to for us to continue providing this content for free. बिना आपके support के इस content को free of cost avail कराना या provide कराना is not possible. So please make sure कि अगर आपको analysis अच्छा लगा है तो please give it a thumbs up और press the like button. And if you are not subscribed to the channel yet, please do subscribe to it also. उसके बाद चलो अब वापस से move on करते हैं on other national news. So India का budget session is over. The first session of the parliament is now over. The parliament will now convene for the monsoon session. इस session के बाद we will probably have the vice president and presidential elections over the summer time period. So maybe we will now know whether we will have new president and vice president or not. Okay, then we move on to international news. National news में nothing of note here. ठीक है. One new thing is defense ministry issues indigenization list. Indigenization list क्या है? These are the things of defense equipment जो भारत सरकार इंडिया में प्रोड्यूस करके बनाना चाहती है. These are the things that Bharat Sarkar wants to avail or purchase from India itself. Clear? Then we move on to international news. So the most important international news is the third one here. Okay, Senate confirms first black women to Supreme Court of USA. ठीक है? Who has been Ketanji Brown Jackson has become the first black woman in US Supreme Court. Okay. Joe Biden had recommended her, the parliament has accepted his suggestion, and now there will be the first black woman to be the US Supreme Court judge. Now out of 9 in total, out of 9 judges in US Supreme Court, 4 of them are women. First is Ketanji Brown Jackson and the other 3 are Elena Kagan, Sonia Sotomayor and Amy Coney Barrett. There are 4 women judges out of 9, so almost 45% representation in the Supreme Court of USA is now to women. In comparison, India के 34 judges में से there are only 2 women Supreme Court judges. So India की US Supreme Court now has 1 Indian American, that is Sonia Sotomayor, and 1 black woman. So it shows how representative their Supreme Court is. Okay, in terms of 9 judges, they have at least representation of every majority community in the country. In comparison, so this is part of affirmative action. Without reservation, why this is purely based on consensus of all the parties there that we should have representation at the Supreme Court level. So the name of the judge becomes very, very important. She is a 51-year-old फेडरल कोर्ट जज, मतलब वहाँ की हाई कोर्ट की जज रह चुकी हैं वो काफ़ी सालों से, एंड शी हैज़ नाउ बीन रिकमेंडेड एंड शी विल बिकम द फर्स्ट black women judge to be the Supreme Court. Okay, then the next thing is Yemen president cedes power to a new council. Abderrahmane Mansour Hadi, who has been the president of Yemen since the civil war broke out, has now given up power. He will be giving up power to a National Council, a new leadership council that will now come into being. So basically he has stepped down, a new power structure will now come in. A ceasefire was brokered in Yemen. This is part of the Yemen civil war. The name of the president who has resigned becomes important. So Abdehado Mansour Hadi, simply आप Mansour Hadi के नाम से याद कर सकते हैं. 2015 से Mansour Hadi has been living in Saudi Arabia itself. He is the president in exile. मतलब अपने देश से ही बाहर रह के he is the president. He is internationally recognized as the president of Yemen, but the capital city of Yemen and the northern regions of Yemen are under Houthi rebels. Okay. If you want to know more about this, please join the crash course of Unacademy where I have talked about this in much detail. Okay. Apart from this, what we have to note down on the international news page, Ukraine calls on NATO to provide more weapons. This is active arm assistance Ukraine को मिलनी चाहिए from North Atlantic Treaty Organization की support us in our war against Russia. More active engagement would mean that the war extends against Western countries, which can spill over. So that is the update there. Then the second, Sri Lanka braces for more shortages. Unki currency is in free fall, their economy. The government has lost majority. They do not have a finance minister. So this is the spiraling conflict of Sri Lanka. Okay, nothing to note there. So the two things that you have to note down, Mansour Hadi, president of Yemen, has stepped down, and Ketanji Brown Jackson has become the first black woman Supreme Court judge of USA. Then on the economic side, nothing of note. Gati Shakti production linked schemes will offset global headwinds. These are two union budget policies. Gati Shakti is the national monetization plan under which different sarkari assets are being monetized, and production linked scheme is production related scheme to support overall growth. Okay? Then we come to sporting side, nothing of note, IPL news, that's all. So with this we conclude now. What all to note down? आज के न्यूज़पेपर में काफ़ी चीज़ें हैं. First, all right, so these are the four things that are very important for all of you to note down. First, India-Australia trade deal, details about that, India's strategic autonomy. So main editorial भी आपको पढ़ना है, that is an important one. So main editorial is a star one. ठीक है, French president election system, we have discussed it. Ketanji Brown Jackson, the first black woman judge of US Supreme Court, and Mansour Hadi of Yemen has stepped down as president of Yemen. We have also discussed the Pakistan Supreme Court decision. I have talked about the possibility. We have also noted down Russia's removal from UNHRC. So UNHRC procedure also is something that you have to note down. So all right. So these are the things that we have to note down. With this, we conclude our newspaper analysis for the day. आज there will not be a daily current affair quiz. It is not followed. After this today's newspaper analysis, हम रोज जो quiz करते हैं, आज हम वो quiz नहीं करेंगे. Okay, everyone. So that is the update for all of you. But I have one more big update to announce, that Unacademy is coming up with its CLAT Notes, where we will be providing you last minute notes to prepare for your examination instead of classes. हमारी तरफ से created notes, these are completed by us. You will need a subscription to take up or download these notes. So अगर आप subscription लेते हैं बिना classes attend किए आप directly notes download कर सकते हैं. Okay? एंड अगर आपको क्लासेस की ज़रूरत है सो दिस इज आवर क्रैश कोर्स फॉर योर क्लैट एग्जामिनेशन वेयर आई विल बी टीचिंग योर करंट अफेयर्स टू ऑल ऑफ यू. सो इफ यू वांट टू प्रिपेयर फॉर इट प्लीज मेक श्योर दैट यू सब्सक्राइब एट द अर्लीस्ट. आई विल बी कंप्लीटिंग योर कोर्स. द बैच स्टार्टेड ऑन 6th April. जीके की क्लास अभी तक नहीं हुई है. इट विल हैपन वेरी वेरी सून. सो मेक श्योर कि यू डू इट एट द अर्लीस्ट. ओके, अगर आपको अपना कोर्स कंप्लीट करना है 2 months के अंदर प्रायर टू द एग्जामिनेशन, डू दैट. आप लोगों की डेट्स ऑफ एग्जामिनेशन ऑलरेडी अनाउंस्ड है. रजिस्ट्रेशन की लास्ट डेट May 9 और May 25 है. ठीक है. देयर इज अ न्यू बैच फॉर क्लैट 2024 लॉ एंड ऑर्डर. देयर इज अ बैच फॉर 2023 स्टूडेंट्स के लिए टारगेट NLU करके एक नया बैच अनाउंस किया गया है. ऑलराइट, बाकी कोई भी इंफॉर्मेशन आपको चाहिए तो यू कैन कॉल मी ऑन 7825860506 एंड यू कैन एनरोल यूजिंग द कोड KUSHGK. आप लोग रोज download, you can also participate in daily quiz that happens at 5 PM on Unacademy. Lastly, if you want to take your subscription, you can take subscription of the Iconic program. In Iconic, you get classes plus mock test plus sectional test. But the benefit is that you get one-on-one mentoring, live doubt solving, and priority in classes. Mentorship का क्या मतलब है? You will get a session of 10 minutes each, multiple times with your mentor to discuss your strategy, revision, improvement, how to do it, what all to be done through the mentorship program. To take up subscriptions, you can either take a 3-month one for CLAT 2022 students, 12 months for CLAT 2023, and to avail a discount, you can use the code KUSHGK. इस कोड को यूज करके आप लोग सब्सक्राइब कर सकते हो टू अवेल अ 10% डिस्काउंट ऑन योर सब्सक्रिप्शंस. ओके, अगर आपको क्रैश कोर्स चाहिए, इफ यू वांट टू पार्टिसिपेट इन द क्रैश कोर्स, यू विल नीड अ 3-month सब्सक्रिप्शन बेयर मिनिमम. सो अगर आपको क्रैश कोर्स कवर करना है तो जल्दी से जल्दी सब्सक्राइब करिए. ऑलराइट, अगर आपको सिर्फ मॉक टेस्ट में पार्टिसिपेट करना है तो देन यू कैन डू इट थ्रू Unacademy Lite. In Unacademy Lite, you will get access to 25 mock tests specifically. The rates are on your screens. Alright. And you also get the benefit of prizes. Rank 1 gets 1,500, rank 2 1,000, rank 3 500 rupees. And lastly, हमारे notes will be available on bit.ly/KUSHGK notes और Unacademy की community tab पर. आप मुझे reach out भी कर सकते हैं मेरे telegram channel that is Kushagra Goyal the legal game _Unacad पर. On that note, अगर आपको और कुछ जानना है so we can do it through a special class. Special classes of Unacademy are places where you can raise your hand plus you get notes instantly. Our daily quiz will happen not today. Okay, आज हमारी special class on daily current affair quiz नहीं होगी. I will notify you in the Telegram channel अगर कोई special class conduct करी जाती है. Okay, on that note, अगर आपको ये analysis अच्छा लगा है so please give it a thumbs up and do subscribe to the channel. And keep on supporting us to continue providing you with content for such free of cost. Okay, on that note, thank you so much everyone. कल वापस से मिलेंगे at 8 AM on that